Watch how Sadiq Khan comes under relentless pressure during a bruising mayor's question time as Assembly members accuse City Hall of misinformation, poor decision-making and putting frontline policing at risk. With sharp questions and mounting criticism, this heated exchange becomes a fierce battle over leadership, transparency and public trust. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to Britain Daily for more explosive political coverage. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Assembly Member Hall.
Hi. Can I talk to you about the pilot scheme, because from Palantir, because that seems to be separate. Is that going to continue?
Chair, I'm not in a position to discuss either the pilot scheme or the scientific contract for reasons I hope you'll appreciate. There is a procurement process in relation to IT contracts and contracts generally. And one of the things that MOPAC is discussing with the Met Police Service and indeed the supplier is whether correct processes were followed.
I don't really understand that, because the pilot scheme has gone ahead and that has brought up incredible results, as you well know. If you're looking at results very, very quickly, and of course the pilot scheme was brought in so that 500 members of staff could be lost because the AI could do their work for them. Now it would appear that 500 members of frontline staff will have to be lost if this doesn't go ahead. But the pilot scheme has started and is going on. So I just want to know if you're at least going to finish that part of the process.
Chair, can I speak in general terms for reasons I hope the Assembly will recognise? Pilot schemes in general are a pilot, and what happens normally is there's then a procurement process which are followed. So as and when any pilot comes to an end, you'd expect there to be a procurement process.
So you can confirm that the pilot scheme will carry on until that is finished?
Chair, in general terms, pilot schemes carry on until the pilot is concluded, and then there's normally a procurement process.
Okay. Did you know when you made the decision that you weren't going to be using that particular company, that there would be another round of very tough choices? Because we've just been through a round of very, very tough choices with the Metropolitan Police that not one of us is happy about. Clearly, another round is going to go ahead. Did you think about that before decisions were made?
Chair, regardless of the UOA decision, the Met Police Service was always planning to have to go through another round of difficult choices. One of the things that we know is because of the cumulative impact of cuts over a number of years, those tough choices would go to not just 26, 27, but 27, 28 as well. And they were discussed indeed during the budget process before Christmas.
I watched the policing board yesterday, Mr. Mayor, and the Met were very clear there that they are that rolling out AI and technology across the organisation, but it is clear that the decision will limit how much it's used across the full range of criminal intelligence work. So, in effect, are you comfortable that the Met will use technology for HR, but have to solve crimes with pens and paper?
Well, the Met Police Service already uses technology in a whole host of areas. One of the things I'm incredibly proud of is how we've rolled out, in a proportionate way, live facial recognition, which also uses artificial intelligence. And there are a number of other crime fighting as well as administrative matters which AI is used, not just in the police service, the fire service and TfL as well. And we are in favour of technology being used. In fact, we've been challenged in the courts by those who are unhappy with us using this technology. So I'm very comfortable with technology being used, but correct processes have to be followed for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the Commissioner is rightfully furious, and you can tell that by the letter or his statement from yesterday. You ask him to do a job properly, then you tie his hands behind his back, and now he can't do anything about that. Tell me, do you have confidence in the Commissioner?
I do have confidence in the Commissioner, but the Assembly will be aware there's been a history of public sector IT contracts going tens of £millions over budget. This is waste. That could be used for frontline services, which is why we have strict procurement processes in place. And indeed, during the budget process at the last plenary session, the Commissioner was rightly challenged about the wastage of tens of millions of pounds in IT contracts.
Mr. Mayor, the Labour government proved yesterday that they can't keep us safe as a country. You are clearly not going to be able to keep us safe in London, because we're going to be losing hundreds and, well, over 1,000 more police officers. Putting this contract in place could have saved us frontline officers. I'm going to have to leave it there, Chair, but like your Commissioner, I am absolutely furious about this, as indeed Londoners should be.
Mr Mayor, I know, of course, that you cannot go into any detail about the issue with Palantir, but on a broader level, could you talk about why following a correct procurement process is so important to best value for Londoners, please?
Well, Chair, there have been a number of examples where members of the Assembly rightly have challenged the Met Police Service in relation to procurement in the past, in relation to, in fact, IT contracts. But generally speaking, the public sector, when it comes to the awarding of contracts, has to follow correct processes. And I can speak from experience. In other areas where there have been processes that have been followed, we've still been challenged in the courts. We've won those legal challenges, but it's really important to follow correct processes. And I'll give a hypothetical in terms of if you are a supplier that feels the process wasn't correct and you could have bid for the contract, you will not unreasonably think you've got a legitimate grievance. And that's why it's incredibly important for not just processes to be followed, but processes to be seen to be followed as well. I'm speaking in general terms. It's really important I caveat what I've said in case that's used in some way in any legal proceedings.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Chair.
Assembly Member Wilson, please.
Thank you, Chair. So back briefly, if I may, on to the Palantir contract. You mentioned there's a lot of comments from lobbyists. I'm not particularly interested in the comments from the lobbyists. What I am interested in is the comments from the Commissioner, who I think we can call him all sorts of things, but I don't think anyone's ever called him a lobbyist. And certainly the comments that he made yesterday were very robust in indicating that this decision will now have a significant impact on policing, frontline policing, and the ability to keep Londoners safe. So we've just been through a kind of lengthy and complex budget process, which is always very challenging. If the assurances that have been made during that process were predicated on the potential for making these savings, does that whole process now not just look like a complete and utter farce?
Well, again, I think we're in danger of trespassing into what would have been a contract with a supplier, so I've got to be quite careful. I mean, I'm not going to go over the words of the Commissioner yesterday. Suffice to say that we already had in plan, and it was discussed at the budget setting process before Christmas and after Christmas, the challenges in terms of Met Police budget 26-27 and indeed 27-28.
Have we done? Okay. We now move on to the questions on the priority order paper. Each group is allocated an amount of time to ask their questions that is proportionate to their size. The first question is titled Decision Making from Assembly Member Hall.
Thank you, Chair. Can I thank the member for her question? It's decisions I've taken since becoming Mayor over the last 10 years that have helped us make huge strides in building a fairer, safer and greener London for everyone. I'm proud that we've now provided more than 120 million free school meals to state primary school pupils. It's noteworthy that some Assembly members made the decision to oppose this policy, which is ensuring children are now receiving a healthy, nutritious meal every day and saving parents around £500 per child per year. Last year, London reached the lowest homicide rate in recorded history per capita. 2025 also saw the fewest number of homicides of victims aged under 25 in London this century, and the fewest teenage homicides in almost 3 decades. This is hugely encouraging and proof that the decision I made for a public health approach to tackling violent crime and to be tough on crime and the causes of crime was the right one. Of course, one homicide will always be one too many, but these impressive results
Today's Mayor's Question Time delivered one of the most intense exchanges we've seen at City Hall in recent months. Assembly members repeatedly challenged Sadiq Khan over decisions affecting the Metropolitan Police, particularly surrounding the handling of a major technology procurement process. Critics argued that cancelling or delaying the project could have consequences for frontline policing, operational efficiency and public safety. They questioned whether the Mayor had fully considered the impact on officers and Londoners before supporting the decision. Sadiq Khan defended his position, insisting that proper procurement rules must always be followed to protect taxpayers' money and maintain confidence in public contracts. He argued that technology remains central to modern policing and highlighted the Met's continued use of artificial intelligence, facial recognition and other digital tools. The Mayor also said that following transparent procurement procedures is essential to prevent waste and avoid costly legal challenges. Beyond the political arguments, today's debate touched on an issue that affects every Londoner. People want a police force equipped with the best technology available, but they also expect public money to be spent fairly, transparently and responsibly. Balancing those priorities is never easy, and today's questioning showed just how controversial those decisions have become. As pressure continues to mount over policing, technology and public spending, City Hall is likely to face even greater scrutiny in the months ahead. What do you think? Did Sadiq Khan successfully defend his decisions, or did Assembly members expose serious weaknesses in City Hall's leadership? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy our coverage of Britain's biggest political debates, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Britain Daily, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest clashes from Westminster and City Hall.